Okay, live reaction, Sister Wives, season 19, episode 20, live reaction part 2, because the first one, yeah, we're halfway through the episode. As I was ending that last video, Cory had his theory, which we'll go into a lot deeper tomorrow in our live, about the seed planting that we're seeing with Robyn and possibly Aurora. And we won't go into a lot of detail here because we'll run out of time, but just the possible seed planting of how, what a wonderful stepfather Robyn had. Kody's a wonderful stepfather too. As long as Kody steps in and helps baptize Aurora, then she will be baptized with the proper priesthood authority. And then that way it doesn't really matter which church she joins, because Kody has the proper priesthood authority according to their belief system. And that is ultimately the most important.
Keeping a foot in both religions. She's keeping a foot in both religions. So
Yep.
She's good.
And then making sure that her children still have ties to the correct priesthood authority to do baptisms. Okay, bullshit that Robyn did not know. She didn't pay attention to Kody's schedule. That is the biggest load of crap. She absolutely knew his schedule because he was always at her house. So she knew where he was. And Cory's over here.
Queen and priestess ran the damn schedule.
Yep, Cory's like, she made his schedule. How did she not know it? Okay, we're both laughing again. His style of living polygamy was too flexible. Okay, so
He was an authoritarian.
yes,
The other way.
in polygamy, the main two things that a woman looks for is her anniversary date and her birthday date, because those are two main dates that you know that you're probably going to have your husband there with you on those days. The worst thing that can happen is when your sister wife has a baby on your birthday or your anniversary, then you're just screwed, because the children will be more important than your birthday or your anniversary. So, and I do know people that were not flexible with that at all. They would celebrate the birthday on the night that they were with the wife. And then I do know people who were very flexible about it and just allowed it to happen, whenever, and the wives would work out the schedules amongst themselves. But the flighty and not knowing and not being able to schedule would just frustrate me. I watched it frustrate my mom. I mean, we can see that it frustrated these women too. Okay, so here we are. Robyn still believes that they all have their spiritual marriages, right? And she just wants them to go get a release. This has been discussed a couple of different times on our lives where, there's different beliefs in the church, depending on who you are. If you, like Christine's uncle was the prophet when I was younger, and he would say it was the love of the woman that sealed the marriage. If the woman doesn't love the man, there's no marriage, there's no sealing. Also, I've been taught that if a man loses one wife unrighteously, like Kody lost Mary for abandonment, then he loses all of his wives, not just Mary, because he's no longer considered a worthy man, so he doesn't deserve any of the sealings that he has. So it just depends on who you're talking to. So the only person that would still really have a marriage with Kody is Robyn, because they were legally married, but they wouldn't have a spiritual marriage intact. So, and then Christine's solution is just go have sex with another man, and then you don't even have to worry about all this other bullshit that comes along with it. So we were laughing about that because that's just funny, because if you try to have any level of integrity in your spiritual marriage, then I just think the whole thing's just a joke, and it just depends on who you are, and it just depends like what rules you believe. And I just think this is a funny conversation. We're both over here laughing.
We're making fun of Robyn. That's the best.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Christine just making fun of Robyn, like, okay, just go have sex with another man, and then boom, your marriage is over. Now you're divorced. Have fun with that. And Kody's comment right there saying, well, Robyn still believes that they have a spiritual marriage that they need to dissolve or whatever, just to have these women go get this dissolved, shows that she still has one foot in the AUB and that she still believes in the religion. Because if she didn't, she'd just walk away. It wouldn't even matter. The women could do whatever they wanted. The divorces, like the releases, the spiritual marriages would be over. So that right there proves that her and Kody still do believe in the authority or the leadership of the AUB to some degree.
Of that spiritual.
Or of the spiritual marriage, yeah. Okay, and then also Janelle comes back on and says, when we brought out the terminology sister wives, it felt like something we shouldn't show off to the world, But we did, and now it's wonderful. And really, having a sister wives means it's women working together for the betterment of the family. And that is really the terminology of sister wives. So now you understand even more so when Christine does an interview and says, Robyn never lived polygamy. She never had sister wives because she wasn't out for the betterment of the family with the other women in the family. Okay, first of all, it's none of Robyn's business if these women get releases or not, because Robyn could just mind her own marriage and not mind everyone else's marriages. So there's that. But you can see just in the different explanations that Christine and Janelle and Mary give that there's so many different opinions on what really ends these spiritual marriages and what really ends these spiritual connections. So it's as diverse in a family as it is in the entire AUB group. So it just depends on who you talk to, is depending on whether that's, but really, does Robyn want these releases done just because she wants to be the only one with ties to Kody? Like, what's her reasoning or rationing behind that, other than it just gives her the ultimate level of control over these women in their lives? I think it's funny that Kody's like, I don't care if I get one with Christine or Mary, but Janelle and I have some karmic connection. Holy shit, Janelle, just go get a release, even though technically by the teachings of the church, you no longer have a spiritual marriage with Kody, but just go do it, just so Kody can be like, oh, let me get rid of it. Just because it will stab Kody for that karmic energy, and that's just like severed, you know? Yeah, we've talked about this before. My dad would be the one to actually give her the release. I could give her his phone number right now. I'm like, I'll text it to you right now, sweetheart. Okay, we're going to probably not get through this whole episode either because I'm running out of time. But I don't understand how Robyn thinks that things are balanced with this house and the property and the money. And I love that Christine's so cynical about it. She's like, yeah, it's not balanced. And Robyn's like, I helped out so much at the beginning. I don't know how much she thinks that like helping out with daycare with the kids cost. Like, what does she charge? $200, $300, $400, $500 an hour? That justifies all the equity that these women took from their Vegas houses and put into her Flagstaff house. Like, that's got to be tens of thousands of dollars. And somehow Robyn feels that that's balanced. I mean, we've beat this horse to death on our lives. But yeah, sweetheart, this is not balanced. And this is very common and very typical for a woman who is the favorite, who does gather most of the family resources. In her mind, she genuinely does believe that it's balanced because she deserves these things.
She's a better steward.
She's a better steward over this money than these other women are. So therefore, she just balances her checkbook differently. So she genuinely believes that things are balanced and fair because of that. I don't think she's like putting on a ruse or trying to like lie to people. She genuinely believes this. That's how it is.
Well,
Okay, I think it's funny that they're drinking in a bar together. You know, I never had my first drunk or alcohol really until I was 26 years old, and this influential man over here
Heathen
got me my first drink. And so this is just something that you just don't do. We didn't do coffee, we didn't do alcohol. So this is probably a pretty big deal for Janelle. A lot of people just don't ever care to experience that, which is totally fine. But yeah, I was 26 years old before I had my first experience. And you know, these ladies are in their 50s, so that's pretty common. I think it's funny when Kody does his couch interviews and then he goes backwards, like he's the victim. I was never intended for for me to know Janelle was moving. It's like she's going on and moving on without me. But did he ever stop to contemplate that that's how those women felt when he was out with Robyn 24/7? He was just living his life with Robyn outside of their relationships. He had no care whatsoever. And now all of a sudden he's the victim in this situation because these women have decided to live their lives without him. The hypocrisy is unreal. Okay, again, Janelle's talking at the end, and I love to see these women so empowered and moving on with their lives and having a whole different life. That it's not something that very many polygamous women get to do, at least not at this level. So I love to see this for these women. I love the spring previews. Spring's going to be on fire, it looks like. And that's what people are like, this season's so boring, but it's actually not for me, because you're now seeing a different level of honesty that these women have not expressed for 19 seasons.
from
And
3 women.
yeah, from 3 women. Yes, Robyn is still completely in denial. And you're starting to see it where Mary's calling her out. So we're going to go more over this more in our live tomorrow. We'll be over on TikTok live tomorrow evening, and then we'll do a YouTube live on Tuesday probably. So go over there and you can register in my bio. I will drop the link in my bio if you want to check that out. And once we do the TikTok live here, we'll go ahead and upload that to YouTube later. So a lot to talk about for tomorrow. The preview for spring, we're both like lit up about it right now, chatting about it. So we will see you guys tomorrow.